What's up, guys? The Actual Justice Warrior here, and if you can't tell by the title, today we're going to talk about the worst Young Turks video I have ever seen. But first, a little background. I've been a fan of the Young Turks, and particularly Cenk and Anna, for close to 10 years. Since I was 16 years old, I've been watching the Young Turks. This is in spite of the fact that I identify as libertarian, and most of that time I'd never agreed with them politically. But generally, I liked Cenk and Anna, and I liked the way they covered the news, and I didn't mind the fact that I was watching a source that I disagreed with. And for those of you who don't believe me, here's a picture of me and Cenk at a premiere of his documentary Mad as Hell in New York, which is where I live. I used to submit videos to TYT University when they were still called TYT University and not Think Tank.
I am now going to say that he submits the best videos.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
He's hilarious, and I love the point about the vegetables. Throw those vegetables out.
And when given the opportunity, I would submit videos to the TYT Nation channel. So if I'm somebody who was pretending to be a TYT fan this whole fucking time, I've been in deep cover. So why is this the worst Young Turks video ever? While I always had disagreements with them, and I had disagreements with them on matters of opinion, and occasionally I felt like they were factually incorrect on videos, it seems more and more common that I watch a video that they do, and they are deliberately misleading on a video. They're deliberately getting facts wrong, or they're deliberately pushing a narrative over the facts. And that is the case with this Milo UC Berkeley riot, which I covered on my last video.
Protests at UC Berkeley erupted in violence after some masked individuals threw what appeared to be fireworks and started a fire on campus. Now, what were the protests about? Apparently, there was a professional troll scheduled to speak on campus. I have a policy of not naming this individual.
Wait, you're really going to treat him like Lord Voldemort? He who shall not be named? Seriously? Not a great start. You see, it would be one thing if this policy of not naming people because they're trolls and you don't want to give them attention was consistent. But TYT routinely names Richard Spencer in stories about Richard Spencer.
To Richard Spencer. Now, Richard Spencer at all.
And unlike Milo, who's more of a traditional conservative disguised under all this flamboyance, Richard Spencer is a white nationalist. I can't help but think that the inconsistency in who gets named and who doesn't get named actually has little to do with how much of a troll they are, and has more to do with who's making more valid points. Milo, love him or hate him, makes valid points. I don't always agree with him, I don't always agree with his politics, but he does make valid points about the left.
Don't fight identity politics with identity politics. White pride, white nationalism, white supremacy isn't the way to go. The way to go is reminding them and yourselves that you should be aspiring to values and to ideas. You should be focusing on what unites people, not what drives them apart. And you shouldn't give a shit about skin color, you shouldn't give a shit about sexuality, you shouldn't give a shit about gender, and you should be deeply suspicious of the people who do.
Richard Spencer, who's also a troll, is a white nationalist, so there's no consequence in naming him because nobody's going to be swayed by him, or almost nobody's going to be swayed by him. Milo makes decent points, so some people will move over to his side, especially when they see the left doing crazy shit like this.
But nonetheless, he purposely goes to very liberal college campuses and says that he's going to give a speech, and usually it leads to protests.
He's invited to liberal campuses by conservatives on campus, who are often the minority on campus, and then he goes there and speaks about issues. Like, there's no secret plot behind this where he's going there just to get the liberals or whatever, or to incite the conservatives against them.
And says that he's going to give a speech, and usually it leads to protests, which feeds into his argument that liberals are against free speech.
The reason why Milo Yiannopoulos says liberals are anti-free speech is because liberals are anti-free speech, especially on college campuses.
Be good!
20 minutes. The statistics for black incarceration are about to go up.
The university said fires were set, including one caused by a firebomb that ignited a generator-powered spotlight, and commercial-grade fireworks were thrown at police. NBC Bay Area showed a group of people grab a metal barricade and smash it against a door. Apparently, the violence was instigated by a group of about 150 masked agitators who came onto campus and interrupted an otherwise nonviolent protest. That is a statement from officials at UC Berkeley. That is not a statement from a witness. That is not a statement from someone in this news organization. That is based on what officials at UC Berkeley know.
No, it's based on what officials at UC Berkeley said. You notice how they described with the text graphic what happened instead of showing you the video?
Shooting off firefighters into the theater where the Yiannopoulos is scheduled to speak.
Ma'am?
You can clearly see students not dressed in all black joining them in the meetings, joining them in the protests. Like, they're not fucking shunning these people, they are joining them. There's an argument to be made about maybe it's a mob mentality thing and they would not have done the violence without them, but they did not stand against the violence. It's just factually untrue.
We think that the rest of the media is covering the story completely wrong. Every headline is protesters at Berkeley, with riot, and they throw Molotov cocktails, they attack the police, smash glasses. No, there were, according to Berkeley, there were already protesters, and in fact, they'd been there for hours.
The fact that UC Berkeley, the campus, says, oh, these were outsiders and not our students, doesn't make it true. Show the fucking video. Show the video.
And by the way, even the peaceful protesters I disagree with, not because I'm against protests, that's perfectly great. Don't protest this no-name person.
All right, so one of the reasons I do like Cenk, and I left this clip in, is to give him a little bit of a defense, because you shouldn't use the heckler's veto, and he's not in favor of that. Anyway, now that I've just given Cenk credit, please allow me to take it away from him.
And he's dying to be a victim. Everything is projection. He says, oh yeah, the liberals love being victims and they're special snowflakes. No, he's the specialist snowflake of them all. And he's like, oh, I need a safe space, right? Oh my God, the liberals are scaring me, right?
So Young Turks has like this policy, and they've been doing it for a while, where they want to recapture the phrases safe space and trigger warning and things like that. But the example that he gave here is kind of ridiculous. If you were in a building and there were 1,000 people outside, beating people, setting fires, pepper spraying women who disagree in the face, you would hide inside. That's not the same thing as calling for a safe space. You see, flipping safe space and trigger warning doesn't really work because it's not a term that conservatives invented. Liberals actually ask for safe spaces. When people like Milo come to campus, when people like Ben Shapiro come to campus, when people like Christina Hoff Sommers come to campus, that's a thing that they actually demand be provided to them by the administration, and the administration capitulates. So this ridiculous argument that Milo's just as bad as the thing that he criticizes because he wants a safe space where he doesn't get set on fire or beat up or assaulted. Like, no, liberals on college campuses demand trigger warnings and safe spaces from words. Milo left because they were literally trying to attack him. Fucking big difference there, buddy. But again, this is literally the worst TYT video ever, so.
Okay, now, to the heart of the story. We know that there was a peaceful protest there, and these masked agitators came in that were not part of the protest that was there for hours. You think Berkeley students put on masks and planned this out and came in? Now, nobody knows who those masked agitators are. The authorities don't know, the cops don't know. So if you're saying they're Berkeley students, you don't know that at all, and everyone in the media that said that should immediately retract it.
So,
while it's true that nobody knows the identity of the people with the mask, and you can't really say that they're Berkeley students, and I don't believe that most or all of them were even Berkeley students, the people wearing black. We know that black blocking is a technique that liberal activists use and anarchists use. And a lot of people are like, well, anarchist isn't really liberal. The anarchist is like communist liberal, right? There are anarcho-capitalists, which are libertarian anarchists. I'll link a video explaining this in the description so you can understand that it's pretty fucking obvious that these are left-wing activists. For the record, I do appreciate some level of skepticism on who these people are, but the idea that we completely don't know who these people are. They've never showed up outside of a Milo event. They've never showed up outside of a Trump-related event. and done the same exact thing is ridiculous. Like, we know that's happened. Antifa was the group that took credit for the violence at Trump's inauguration.
If they are left-wingers, and by the way, a true progressive doesn't do violence by definition.
Oh, no true progressive does violence. Oh, no true Scotsman would ever do something like that. This is an obvious, like, retarded fallacy. I don't know why Jenk said this, but yeah. That's like saying Christians who bomb abortion clinics because of Christianity aren't really Christians, because Christians would never do something like that. That's like saying that Muslims that do terrorism in the name of Islam aren't true Muslims, because Islam is a religion of peace. It's a stupid fucking fallacy. It's called the no true Scotsman fallacy, and it's ridiculous.
And by the way, the anarchists, are they left-wing? I don't know what the hell the anarchists are. I know they yell at me all the time, but like, okay, if you're for no rules, no laws, that's not left, that's not right, that's just off the spectrum, right?
The anarchists, are they left-wing? Who fucking knows? They want to collectivize everything. It could be on either side of the spectrum. As I explained before, the type of left-wing anarchists that protest and show up to events like this are like anarcho-communists, which in reality is an oxymoron because communism always ends up with a dictator and everything being regulated, but these are left-wing people trying to achieve a communist utopia.
That's not left, that's not right, that's just off the spectrum.
But who fucking knows? How would I even know that? It's not like I do the news. How would I know that? Are these guys left-wing? Get the fuck out of here. No way. Right? No, it's not exactly right. I just explained why it's wrong.
It's not left, that's not right, that's just off the spectrum, right?
I agree that anarchists are fucking stupid, but they are left-wing stupid. However, that doesn't stop Jenk from going full Alex Jones and calling this a false flag operation.
Could the right wing come in masked? Could it be 4chan guys who come in to cause trouble so that they can then turn around and do exactly what they did today? Oh, you got to take away the funding from Berkeley. I mean, they're teaching science over there. They're teaching facts. Ugh, we hate facts. The right wing hates facts.
No.
What a convenient Reichstag fire we just had.
You got
a Reichstag fire? That's right, Jenk just suggested that 4chan got 150 people together in the real world to dress like anarcho-communists or Black Bloc or Antifa, whatever the fuck you want to call it, to disrupt Milo's event, to get money cut off from Berkeley's science department. Like, seriously, that was a legitimate possibility Jenk threw out there.
First of all, if it was a clever strategy by the right, congratulations, it's working. So don't play into it, okay? But even if it's not a clever strategy by the right.
Maybe the right does play four-dimensional chess. Maybe they don't. These two things are equally possible. I know this is completely unrelated, but I'm kind of feeling the highlights in Anna's hair. Not a bad look.
But even if it's not a clever strategy by the right, and you have people on the left using forms of violence to protest this, again, you are part of the problem, and you're actually going to cause more harm than good. So what do I mean by that? Donald Trump actually tweeted about this situation, and he threatened to pull federal funding from UC Berkeley. Here's what he said. If UC Berkeley did not allow free speech and practices violence on innocent people with a different point of view, no federal funds. Right now, Berkeley receives 55% of their funding from the federal government. So if they snatch that funding away from the school, what is that going to do? That is going to put an end to the type of scientific research that's going on to prove things that conservatives don't like. Things like man-made climate change, right?
Seriously, what possible connection to global warming is there in this story? You brought up science funding and climate change twice in this video. As if conservatives or Donald Trump, the group that you often paint as fucking stupid, by the way, are playing this four-dimensional chess game where they created Milo Yiannopoulos years ago in a response to the outraged culture, and they've had right-wingers posing as leftists, slowly escalating their violence and their protests against speakers like him, all so Donald Trump could ascend to the throne of the presidency, see this on the news, and then cut funding to Berkeley so they would stop doing climate change research. Well, actually, now that I say all that crazy shit in a row, it sounds perfectly reasonable. You know what? These were probably definitely right-wingers. I think you guys nailed it. So the video goes on and talks about other actually productive ways to protest Milo, like having a liberal speaker that you do agree with maybe on the other side of campus, and their belief that more people will show up. It's kind of an ad hominem attack to say that nobody would show up to see Milo if not for the protest. But again, it's not as bad as all the other shit in this video. Anyway, I just want to point out that the reason I'm making this video is not to shit all over TYT. Like I said and demonstrated at the beginning of this video, I actually like Cenk and Anna. Anna in particular. She's been on the air on the internet for like 10 years. She started when she was like 20 years old, and she's been getting non-stop criticism over that period of time. And for the most part, she handles it really well. And it's my belief that those times that she doesn't handle criticism well is just because the sheer volume of the criticism that she gets. And I do respect that about her. And I hope this is seen more as constructive, positive criticism, rather than me just trying to take them down and bring them down a notch or whatever. Because I generally do like the Young Turks as a show and TYT as a network. They're a big part of the reason why I was inspired to make YouTube videos about political topics. So anyway, this has been my analysis of the worst video in Young Turks history. If you like this video, then please hit that like button. If you want to share it, then share it. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on the social medias and all that crap. I'm the Actual Justice Warrior. Until next time.
I just want to say also, I love Sean's videos. He's one of my favorite contributors now.
Yeah.
He's always on the lookout for scams. Like, he seems like kind of like a paranoid guy. Like, you're scamming me. Oh, watch out. But I like it.
Well, he's a Ron Paul supporter, so.
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
No, I love his videos though.
Yeah, I do too. Good looking guy.
Oh.